Jim Halpert. I know someone who joined Scientology as a joke, but actually wound up buying into this stuff legitimately. He's out now, but was in for 12 years and ended up losing a lot of friends and a lot of money. My question is, how many people do you think join Scientology thinking they won't get in too deep, but actually do? Do they have different indoctrination techniques for different kinds of people? I don't think anybody knowingly joins a cult. They join a group that of people that, because there's some personal connection made, as I mentioned in my last answer, that appeals to them at an emotional level. And so all they really want to do at the beginning is hook you in to a thing that you want to change or improve, or something about the group appeals to the person at an emotional level that gets them to want to participate at a low level, right? At a beginning level, right? You don't, hardly anybody just dives in with both feet into the deep end. So when they hook you with that, right? You do, in Scientology specifically, I'll talk about here. You do an introductory service. You do a course, or you get some introductory counseling, which is designed to address and make you feel better about whatever it is that you think you need help or improvement with. Now, whether it really handles that thing or not is kind of beside the point. The whole point of that service is to make you feel better about it. And if they get that accomplished, then the next step that you have to acknowledge or you have to think is, oh, this worked. Somehow, some way, they have to get that thought to occur to you. This worked. Because then, if that worked, now whether it really did or not in the real world is beside the point. You just have to think it did. You're then willing to take the next step. Because you've now seeded that there's something here. There's something about it that is just great. You know, you'll tell your friends, you'll tell your family, yeah, I don't know. I heard all these bad things about Scientology, but you know, it really helped me with that, you know, with that worry that I had about, you know, being fired at work, or it helped me with my Aunt Jemima, or it helped me with my, you know, talking to my wife, or whatever it is. That's the most important thing that Scientology has to do with you, is get you thinking, okay, I feel better, I'm now going to do the next step. And if it doesn't, you won't do the next step and you walk and you never hear, and that person never does Scientology again. And that happens to lots of people. We tend to concentrate here when we're talking about this stuff on the people who feel like it did work. But there are a lot of people that they don't get that result. And they pay $50, they do the class, and they go, yeah, whatever, and they walk out the door. So that does happen. But for the people that doesn't happen with, they do the next step, and then they do the next one. And every single one of them has to work to some degree, but maybe a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less, as they do more and more services, because they're building up this faith in this thing working, and then they start selling them on the idea that what they really need is the stuff way up at the top. They need to go clear. They need to go OT, right? And they start selling this pie in the sky stuff that on day one, this guy never would have bought. He never would, clear OT or whatever, I don't even know what you're saying. But because he's given into the idea that this stuff works, he will then, it's much easier to coax the person into believing that the really good stuff is up at the top, and he's going to have to work to attain that. And he's going to have to pay to attain that. But hey, it works, and all these other people who are here say it works. And so you get that group dynamic going on. And so he's hooked, right? And that's how it works. So there's different indoctrination techniques for different people, sure. But they all have to follow that those basic guidelines I just sort of laid out to keep the guy going. And depending on the individual, will depend on, you know, how much common sense he has, how much reason he has, how much the emotional appeal wears off, will depend on how long he'll stick with that and keep going up to clear and going up to OT and paying out his money and doing his time until eventually everyone twigs on the fact, oh, this doesn't work, and they take off. You know, that's sort of the ultimate end result of Scientology, but it takes some people a long time to get there. So there you go.